That couldn't have been the cat. Cats can't speak. Help me. I think it's coming from inside this old computer case. Hey, kitty cat. Hey, bro. Do you hear that? Help me. I think I know what it is. I think it's my Radeon 5850 that I used to love oh so much. Help me out of this damn thing. I don't want to be regulated to obsolescence. Hey, cat, we're trying to shoot a video here. I think he hears the voice. Hey, bro, you want to help me get this Radeon 5850 out of this old computer case? This piece of shit computer case? So what's up, internet files? This is Blitz. Today, we're gonna free this 5850 out of this old piece of shit computer case. I never should have bought this stupid case. This case kind of sucked. If it wants to delatch, god damn it. Oh, you know what? There's another screw. I didn't even see it. But basically, the whole idea of what we're doing today is we're gonna see how this 5850 does. Some of the newer games out there these days. Well, I don't have that many newer games. I'm not gonna like test it out with Battlefront or the new Tomb Raider hasn't come out yet on PC. That's not till next year. But I'm not gonna test it with like Battlefield 4. I think like the newest games I'll probably test it out with is I guess the Tomb Raider 2013, Far Cry 3. Oh god, I forgot this has a water cooler on it. Ugh, gotta get that damn thing off. This is what sucked about this case. It's small case. Don't get me wrong. That's what I bought it for. I wanted a small case. The problem is accessing everything in this damn thing is a pain in the ass. But the other problem is this water cooler has very limited size liquid coolant tubes. So we have to be pretty careful about how far we move it and whatnot so we don't break anything. Now, along with the 5815 here, this is an old AMD AM3 socket motherboard. And underneath the water block here is a Phenom 2 925 quad core that was clocked at 2.8 gigahertz. And along with it, we have two DDR3, 2 gigabyte DDR3. Let me rephrase that. A pair of 2 gigabyte DDR3 modules. So 4 gigs total in this machine, running in, of course, dual channel, as anyone should. If you're not, you're an idiot, assuming you even know what dual channel is. But like I said, our main objective is to get this 5850 out of here. Now, the big problem with this case is there's not a lot of travel room, and this is a big-ass card. Actually, if I remember correctly, I think it took out, I think it took out the entire hard drive bay. I think I just let the HDD just kind of freeball itself in there. Just because it was such a pain to get in there and get things out. The whole reason I even bought this case was to replace another one just because I wanted a small case that didn't take up too much room. That was a mistake. I really never should have bought this. Though once everything was built and said and done, this was an alright case to have. Now, luckily enough, the power supply is in here. I actually used the power supply that was in this machine to run my current one right over there that's glowing red. So, that was a way I saved some money building a new system back in January. But this machine here, you know, all these parts with the quad-core Phenom and the Radeon 5850 and 4 gigs of memory and this motherboard, this was my machine for 5 years. And the thing is, the motherboard's actually older than that. Originally, the motherboard was used with a dual-core Athlon, an Athlon 250. That was back in 2009. And then I just upgraded everything to the Phenom quad-core and the Radeon 5850 after it came out in late 2009. So before I go on further about specs or anything like that, let's get this damn card out of here. This actually shouldn't be too bad because since there's no power supply in there, there's no power supply cables to dance around. So let's see if we can... I think all we have to do is just free the tab where the card is connected in the PCI Express 16 slot. Oh, that's right. I gotta unscrew the end screws that are on the back. So let's do that real quick. Let's see. Oh, they're covered by this thing. This little thing right here. God damn it. Annoying. You know, I love building computers and whatnot, but at the same time, it's just... sometimes things just go wrong and just piss you off. So, to get this card out, there is a screw right here. You can see that. I gotta remove that before I can get access to the two screws underneath this little shield thing. Oh, there just went some cats chasing each other. Stupid cats. So, well, let me do that real quick. Okay, so now this piece is removed, and of course that screw is removed. Now we can actually get in there, get access to those two screws on the Radeon 5850 as I shakily hold the camera here, because I can't hold it steady for shit. But you can see them right there. So let's remove those now. Fuck you, Creamy Moo. Stupid cat. I love you, but fuck you. Alright, so let's get this sucker out of here. We got the screws taken out. Let's do this. Oh yeah, gotta pull the tab. It's there on the PCI Express 16 slot. There go the cats again. Hey cats, quit being annoying. Dicks. Okay, barely get this thing out of here. It really is just kind of too big for this case. I mean, it fits, but it's such a pain in the ass. And there we have it. Unfortunately, so much of the sticker started to peel off. Kind of midway through the life of this card, so I'm sorry to say the sticker ain't completely there anymore. But you can see it's a Radeon 5850. It's even got Ruby there. But 5000 series was the last series of AMD video cards to still be branded under the ATI name. And unfortunately, after that, AMD retired ATI as far as branding goes, which is unfortunate. But oh well. But I think this it was this generation of cards that introduced the whole Batmobile cooler intakes on the inside end of the video card, which, you know, I kind of don't give a shit as long as it all works. But the two power plugs, the two PCI Express 6-pin power plugs are right there on the end. But yeah, this is a huge card, even for today's standards. This is a fairly large card. I bought it for $300 at Fry's Electronics in Irving, Texas. I used to live up near DFW. Okay, so back at it. Here we go. Here's the 5850. Like I said, it's a pretty big ass card. I don't remember how big it is from end to end, but it's fairly large. Also, it's in great shape, except for the sticker on the front, obviously. But other than that, this card was working great up until I replaced it with an R9 270 and built my new system back in January. But it's still a workable card. The default core clock on this thing was 925 megahertz, if I remember correctly, and there's 1440 AMD VLIW5 stream processors on this thing. So this thing was pretty powerful. I think it had raw 2 teraflops of compute power. Raw, that is. Of course, real world performance would never, you know, pan out to being that way, especially when you compare this thing to like the GCN graphics cards. Now, I think the biggest problem with this card was the fact that so many of the new DirectX 11 titles, I mean, this was a first generation DirectX 11 video card, and that generation, in those first DX11 games, they used way too much tessellation than this card, or really any AMD card, could handle at that time. NVIDIA paid those companies very well to support their levels of tessellation. Now, outside of tessellation, though, like for DX10 and DX9 games, and for games where tessellation doesn't, like, you know, kill this card, this is a really good card. It still is to this day. And that's the main thing we're going to do, is we're going to test how this thing runs with newer games. So let's, we got to install this thing into that machine. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so after finding the damn screws in there that lock the card in place, I finally was able to get this damn thing in there. And as you can see, it does take up quite a bit of room, and it's also using, of course, both PCI Express power connectors. But let's fire this baby up. Let's put the cover back on, etc., etc., and get it going.
Now, even the current drivers for Radeons actually support 5800 series Radeons still, and I guess they still support 6000s too. But I did not have to reinstall my driver at all. The current driver from AMD supports this card. But let's verify that yes, we have a 5850, or well, a 5800 series graphics card installed right now. And just as a misnomer, I did say 925 megahertz earlier as far as the GPU clock goes. Actually 725, my mistake. 200 megahertz mistake. But it only has a gig of video memory. This was a lot back then. But for today's games, this is going to be a real limiter in terms of, what kind of graphics we can really run on this thing. But the other big limiting factor is the tessellation capability of those old Radeons. Unfortunately, they were a first generation TX11 card or series of cards from AMD, and you put in high amounts of tessellation, they get spanked. But luckily, most games, even these days, we should be able to pare back the tessellation quite a bit, and it should still run fine, hopefully, as long as whatever game we use runs okay on a gig of video memory. So we'll close this out. Let's go to the DirectX diagnostic. And as you can see here, we are running an i5 4690K. Luckily, with a CPU like this, as new as it is and as good as it is, there shouldn't be really any CPU bottlenecking like there was with my Phenom 2 quad-core that I had paired with my Radeon. Okay, everybody, now that everything is installed and the 5850 is working, we're going to be testing some games with this. Most notably, more recent DirectX 11 releases, especially like Grand Theft Auto 5, Witcher 3, probably Battlefield 4 maybe, Shadows of Mordor. Games that have appeared on console as well as PC. But the big thing is we're looking for performance. We want to see how the 5850 deals with these games. And they're very demanding graphics requirements, well, relatively to that old card. And of course, this is going to be in lieu to being with a much more powerful processor than what I originally had this 5850 paired with. Alright, so we're just going to end it here. We're going to save the testing for later. We're going to make separate videos for those tests, probably for each individual game, possibly. Depends on how much time I spend with each game. We'll see. Alright, so that just wraps it up for installing the 5850. Make sure to like the video if you liked it. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of these test videos that are going to be coming up with this video card. You might enjoy them. You might find them insightful, especially for those of you who maybe never had this card or never really knew what kind of performance it had. So you might find it really interesting, especially if you're into the technical side of things. But I hope you enjoy those videos. I'm going to enjoy the process of making them, just because this is a card that I really enjoyed for 5 years. So yeah. So I'll see you in the next videos. Make sure to comment. If you have anything interesting to say, go ahead and make a request if there's a game that I did not mention that you want to see tested. And if I have the game, I'll probably do a test with it. Alright, have a good one, guys. Thanks.